Hey guys, Zappanix here, and let's sit down and talk about something for a second, because a lot of people have been coming to me recently, not a lot of people, actually one person, coming to me recently regarding how the PlayStation 1 was more powerful than the N64, which is not true. How advice to that person who wrote me that to me, do your own research, man. Don't rely to listen to others to get your information. That's had to be what you've done. So I've actually heard someone say that before. Let me just go down for something. Now, I'm not the best to go ahead, and Samuel Taghi could, without a doubt, really shed some light on this because he's good on the N64. I really wasn't into the technical specs of a console until at least PlayStation 2. Honestly, I didn't care about console at the time. So, plus they really didn't give him out like that at the beginning. But here's the thing. First of all, the Nintendo 64's processor runs at about, I think, 94 gigahertz. No, 94, just 94 hertz. While PS1 runs at 34. So the Nintendo 64 had a much stronger processor. In terms of memory, the Nintendo 64 had a grand total of 60 megs of memory, while PlayStation 1 only had 2. Now, it is true that on a graphics level, I believe that PlayStation 1 had, I think, double the polygon count of the Nintendo 64, which I'm pretty sure that is the case. They had double the polygon count. But even with that being said, PS1 supports ground shading, or flat shading, whatever you want to call it, and also texture mapping. Nintendo 64 does Z-buffering, anti-aliasing, actually the first console to do anti-aliasing, trilinear mid-map interpolation, I believe it's called, environment mapping, perspective correction, flicker-free interlace mode support. I mean, it just a whole host of things to make the actual 3D look the best it could for that particular time. So overall, it was a 3D monster. I mean, yeah, if you weren't doing all this, if you were just putting out, it's like this. Say, let me give you a good example. Say your job was to put paper into a box. You had 10 seconds to do it. Put as much paper in the box, but you had to rip the paper. Okay? You had to rip paper and put it into a box. Okay? Now, if you're just going to rip it and just throw it into the box, yeah, that's kind of what PlayStation 1 was. It would rip it and throw it into the box. So you weren't getting, but at the same time, if you were taking it and ripping it and making sure that, all the things were nicely shaped triangles, then yeah, it's going to take a little bit more time. And that's kind of what the N64 versus PlayStation 1 was. PlayStation 1 was more like ripping it up and throwing it into a box, where N64 was more like a polished look. And that's pretty much what you got. PlayStation 1, Sony was jumping up in arms about how their system could do twice as many polygons as the Nintendo 64, which is correct. However, even with that being said, they could also in 64, their polygons overall looked much better. And a good example of that would be the whole what was it called? I believe they did a demo. Square Soft at the time, did a demo of Final Fantasy 6 or 3. We never want to call it 6. We'll call it 6 because I said so. We'll call it 6 because, okay, so they did a demo of Final Fantasy 6. Now, if you looked at it, all the characters were nicely rounded. They looked really good. So when they looked at the the PlayStation 1, they realized with the CDs, they were able to produce CDs quicker and less, it cost less money than it did with the, what do you call those things? It's been so long since I've actually used them. Cartridges. So that's the reason why they went over there. Now, at the same time, look at Final Fantasy VII. Now, mind you that when I first played Final Fantasy VII, officially, I played it on a PC. But Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1 looks terrible. I mean, no, seriously. It has, it's nothing but, everything is there. Everything is there in terms of, pixelation. But at the same time, assuming not pixels rather, but at the same time, there's nothing to make it look good. There's no anti-aliasing or Z-buffering to make the, to smooth out the edges. I had a really pointy elbow. You can poke someone's eye out. Like, damn, a sword. And that's what was missing. Now, could you have done the same thing as they did on PlayStation 1 as you could have done on Nintendo 64? Could you have done the same thing vice versa? Yes, you would have to go a different route, but yes, it could have been done. With that being said, I'm talking about on a power level. Yes, it could have been done, but because the cartridges did not have enough memory on the cartridges, that's one of the reasons why it would have been a lot harder to do. Maybe even more than one cartridge, which was not even happening in those days. Like nowadays, they'll go ahead and make more. They'll make 3 or even 4 DVDs on with Final Fantasy 13, say, on the Xbox 360. Why? Because DVDs don't take as much to develop as Blu-rays do. So if it's backwards, they're not going to do it. But anyway, I just wanted to say that because someone actually came out and said that, and I'm actually kind of surprised that someone was willing to even expose themselves like that and actually say that. So I wanted just to go ahead and make a quick video and make that correction. You guys have a good night.